Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Connor Williams, joined by Owen Parks and Paul McAllister, and we are doing the Everton-Newcastle preview. Give me your thoughts on the game, gents. Are you feeling confident? I'll start with you, Paul.
No, and general thoughts are this is probably the most nerve-wracking game I've ever gone to, or I'm preparing to go to. I think the only one that comes close to it, but it was entirely different circumstances. It was maybe the cup final against Chelsea back in 2009, but as I said, the circumstances surrounding the two games couldn't be any different. I think this is probably Everton's, if not definitely, Everton's biggest game since 1997 when we played Bolton on the final. No, not Bolton. Who did we play on the final day and we survived? Gary Farrelly's goal.
Coventry.
It's probably the biggest game since Coventry. Yeah, because never since then have we been in a situation where we've looked so nailed on to go down, and a bad result would basically spell complete disaster and we would go down. I know this isn't the last game of the season like that one was, but if we don't get a result out of this, then I think everyone's, if they haven't already, will just make the peace with the fact that Everton are not going to be in the Premier League next season.
Owen, are you feeling confident for it, or?
I'm unsure how to approach this one because I've said the same after the Tottenham game that I couldn't see how it could possibly get any worse, and then we turned up against Wolves and okay, the scoreline and the manner of it wasn't worse, but the fact that we didn't react at all to a pretty terrible result with another terrible result terrified me. And I've said since we played Wolves away and Molineux that I thought we'd be in a relegation battle because I just didn't see the players in the squad to get us out of it. And Wolves last week sort of swayed me to the fact that I think Everton are going to get relegated this season. Thursday night will all if we get beat or even draw the game, all it'll do is give me confirmation. If we win it gives us a chance because we'll have some more points on the board. We'll have some horrible fixtures, and the only fixtures you can see us being evens in the game, we will be away from home, and we don't win away from home. So I don't know. I think a lot of people will sort of give up if we get beat against Newcastle because it would be another chance. It'll be another opportunity to win a game that's winnable, and we will throw it away. But if we win, it will do a lot to keep people on side, and that's what we've got to do. I think a lot of people are slightly fed up with it at the moment, but a win does a lot. Draw does nothing, and a defeat, I think, gives us that confirmation that it isn't going to go our way this season.
Obviously, when we went to Newcastle, the result wasn't very good there. Now that they come to Goodison Park, do you think the Goodison Park atmosphere might go in our favour? Do you think that's really as valuable as people are, laying on, sort of saying it? Or do you think we're sort of past the point of even the crowd can't get them over the line? I'll start with you, Paul.
Yeah, the Goodison crowd makes a difference, but as you touched on there, there's only so much the crowd can do. The crowd can't make absolutely terrible players be anything other than terrible. We saw that against Wolves, and we've seen it in loads of other examples this season. We, the fans, care, and we're doing our bit, but when the players are just absolutely garbage or refuse to take any responsibility and are just totally spineless, then what can you do as a supporter when you're sat there not on the pitch? The Newcastle away game, that was when I really started to get seriously worried. I thought this was just going to be an absolutely god-awful, never want to remember it type season, in the sense that we were just down there and there was nothing to look back on with any fondness, and it would just be one of these campaigns that maybe you look back on in 10 years and you just think, oh, wasn't that horrible while that was going on? But it wasn't disastrous. Like, there's been one or two other years when I followed Everton that was similar to that. Like the last year under Martinez felt like that. That second year under Moyes felt like that when we finished fourth bottom. We had another year under Moyes where I think we scored only like 33, 34 goals and we finished well in the bottom half. Those seasons were all really horrible to live through, but you couldn't put them down as just absolute chaos, disastrous, because we weren't in any danger of going down in those seasons, really. Never at any point did anyone look at us. Maybe a little bit when things were really, the wheels were really coming off under Martinez, but it still felt like if we don't, we have to change something now, or that will happen. It is happening now. We have changed things, and it's got even worse, or at least not better. So when we lost to Newcastle away, and we went there and got beat pretty handedly as well, that was when I started to really worry and said, we're at Goodison, and we saw Newcastle's fans were probably one of the big difference makers for them on the night, and you're hoping it'll be the same of us. But we've still got too many injuries. We've got too many players here who are not interested in the club, or they just don't fit in to what we need right now. There's a lot of players who are here who've maybe got a bit of ability, but they're not in a position to really show it and contribute to Everton. Players like Dele Alli, players like that El Ghazi guy we've got on loan, players like Donny van der Beek, players even Calvert-Lewin, if he passes a fitness test. He's been ill the last few days. That's apparently why he missed the game against Wolves. I'm really, really, I don't want to say scared is the word, because at the end of the day, it is only football. If the worst comes to pass, then, no one's going to die, are they? When there's things going on in the world which make your stomach churn when you're watching the news, then it feels like a football result, and the fortunes of a football team are very, very small. But anybody who says that they're not overly bothered what happens at this point, they're lying to themselves. No one wants to be in the Championship. No one wants to see Everton fall away that badly and be that in trouble as a club that we actually aren't even in the Premier League anymore. We never thought it would happen, and we're staring it right in the face now, and it's just so worrying, depressing, gives you anxiety. I don't blame any fan who's been absolutely pig sick with worry over the last few weeks, if not months, especially in the days going up to this game, because it kind of feels like if we don't get a result in this game, if we don't do something here, then that's it. All hope is gone.
Yeah, the original question was about the atmosphere. I think I'm sick of certain fans who, to put it in some way, don't go to the game or don't follow the team as closely as always, blaming the fans for an atmosphere in the ground when they have to watch.
We've done that for years. For years that's been going on, and I've always hated it.
It's just drivel, because the fans respond to a team playing on the pitch, and the Everton fans mostly give the team a lot of leeway this season, I thought, and they've given them more room for error than they have done in previous seasons, maybe when it's not gone well. But I don't know. The fans will be there. The fans will give everything. The fans will play their part. It's down to the players. If we concede an early goal, let's say Newcastle force a corner early on and Chris Wood gets on the end of it, you can't blame no one in the ground for getting a bit moody if that happens after what we saw on Sunday and Tottenham and all, and Southampton and the last game against Newcastle and the rest of the season. You won't be able to blame anyone, but the fans will be there. I'm sure they will be, and they'll be there to get behind the team. It should give us something, but I thought the fans really did get behind the team. Will literally make it loud Sunday at times, but in the first half, but they come out in the second half and it was nonsense. So I don't know what the fans are supposed to do. I'm sure the same people blame the fans on Twitter after if we've been beat, but it's not the fans who will get us out of this. It's the 11 players on the pitch, and if they're not up to it, I don't know what we do. If we get beat on Thursday night, what do we do? We get beat, because there'll be very little in this setup they'll suggest we'll get out of it. So what do we do then? It's very terrifying, the thought of defeat on Thursday, because it'll have to give us another rethink of what we do.
Obviously, you've mentioned that and the fans, and there is the rumour that Everton, the team, are reading letters from the fans. I personally think it's a really poor mentality, if it is true, to have on any footballer or any football team. But surely you're scraping the barrel if your training exercise is getting John Joe Kenny and a couple of the lads to read letters coming in.
Is that what they're doing? Or is that, I haven't heard that. Is that the rumour?
It's a supposed rumour, yeah.
Certain people have been spreading it that they're going to get a G up from fan emails and calls in the run up to the game. All that tells me is that training this week's been terrible. They can't get anything out of them, and they're relying on one last roll of the dice before the game. That's all that tells me. But they wouldn't be, if they were confident and they had courage and the convictions to go into this game and win it, then they wouldn't need all this pathetic nonsense. We're not boring. We're going to Man City in the FA Cup. We're playing another Premier League team. The fans will turn up and be there. If the players don't know what it means or don't know the situation they're in, then quite frankly, I don't want any of them playing. We'll throw the under-23s out there if they don't know what it means. It's ridiculous. So they shouldn't need a call or an email from a fan to tell them what it means. Honestly, they need to get their heads out their asses and start realising the situation they're in.
Paul, what are your thoughts on it as well? I imagine you'll echo Owen a bit as well.
No, I agree with what he's just said then, but I've got so little time for hardly anyone in this squad that part of you thinks, even if it does go wrong, do you even have the energy to get annoyed at them anymore? They say first there's disappointments, then there's anger, then there's just apathy. Do you know what I mean? You're at the point where you just think, yeah, where you just think, you know what, yous are all such spineless maggots. Do you know what I mean? You've shown time and time again that your words mean nothing. Your actions are always the same, and your actions are always constantly used letting the club down. That you're not even worth my anger anymore. I'm going to just go find something else. Now that's sad. No football fan should ever have to feel like that, where they feel like they've been chased out. They feel like they've had their enjoyment for the sport overall taken away from them by a group of people who play for their team, who are just so disinterested and so spoilt and so unlikable that they think, you know what, not only do I not like my team anymore, I can't even enjoy the sport. But I feel like I'm getting to that point now where I'm just so sick of what I'm having to put up with as an Everton fan that I'm at the point where I just want to divorce myself from the football. Maybe I'm just being emotional in this moment that I say that, but I can't stand any of these players. And regardless what happens between now and the end of the season, there should be, I think, some sort of public inquest into what's happened. Like they were talking about the protests and the 27 campaign, suspending them because they want to just kind of focus on supporting the team and finding a way to get results between now and the end of the season. But I'd be all for someone protest outside the training grounds, because I think these people need dragging out by the scruff of the necks and being forced to answer publicly why they have got the attitude they've got towards the supporters and the club that they're privileged to play for.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Let me know your thoughts on Newcastle. Obviously, Eddie Howe came in. We touched on it on the extra time. Owen, obviously, you mentioned that they've had a good January. But give me your thoughts on Eddie Howe and the Newcastle he's got now and how tough it's going to be for us. I'll start with you, Owen.
They've got a lot of experience in that team, and they both did buy well in January. And the fact that they got a new takeover, I think, gave everyone a lift, because they were all fed up with Mike Ashley, and they didn't like Steve Bruce, even though he finished comfortably mid-table twice with a top half championship team. But you know, they moved him on, and they've got the new takeover, and Eddie Howe's come in. And to be honest, I don't think he's changed that much in terms of the way they approach games. I think he's recognised that there's a certain way you've got to approach games, even with the players they brought in, and that's to be resolute and to defend quite deep in his teams under break, and that's what they've been doing. They'll use St. Maximin Chris Wood for set pieces. You know, that Bruno guy they've got in midfield, he seems decent. You know, so they've got decent players. They're a handful. They're well organised. They've been well organised, and equally, I don't understand why Eddie Howe, who went in, who's at Bournemouth, has played nice football, and he conceded loads of goals, and he got loads of stick for it. In the end, he got relegated. He seems to, in his time out of the game, learn things and change the way he knows he has to operate at different clubs. Yet Lampard's come into Everton, and he's just not. I don't know what it is, but he hasn't seemed to be able to adapt anything or any style or principle to get results. It's just, I've gone my way and that's in. We'll change the formation. We'll probably change it again, won't he? It's just been very disappointing, that the lack of awareness when it comes to picking the teams and the way the team sets up at times, I think.
Yeah, we'll probably touch on the formation when I ask you to pick your 11, because I'm sure you'll change it again. Paul, just give me your thoughts on Newcastle as we welcome them.
They've massively surprised me, because when they appointed Howe, I thought that's them just signing their own death warrant in terms of being a Premier League team. They've just confirmed relegation. I didn't rate Eddie Howe particularly highly, at least not at Premier League level. I mean, you can't discount what he did overall at Bournemouth. His time at Bournemouth will always be a massive success when you look at it all in its entirety, but I just didn't think he was a manager who was maybe suited to this level, or at least not with a club like Newcastle, who wants something more than just scraping by every season. But as Owen mentioned then, he seems like he's gone away from the game. I think he was out of work for about close to 2 years, was it? A year and a half, at least. He was out for at least one full season. And when did he get the Newcastle job? December?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was out of the game for a year and a half, wasn't he? Because his last ever game for Bournemouth was when they came and beat us at Goodison, wasn't it? On the final day of... Yeah, it was Angelotti. Ended up being Angelotti's last game, didn't it?
No,
it was the last game of that year, wasn't it? When we finished, when Angelotti had got there. I remember it was at Goodison Park when there was no one there, and Moise Keane got a goal. But going back to Eddie Howe, he seems like he's learned the lessons he had to learn when he was out of the game. Because I agree with Owen. I thought he was a manager who so often would just sacrifice possibly getting a result just to make sure he could come off the pitch afterwards and say, well, we played nice football. It seemed like the style was more important than the actual getting points with him. And it seems like he's finally moved on from that. Now that he's at Newcastle, he understands that the only thing that counts as a football manager is how many points you can get on the board for your team. And he's willing to play at whatever style he needs to just to get a result. And fair play to them, they've got results. I think if we beat them on Thursday night, then there's no need for them to panic. I wouldn't say they're definitely safe just yet. I think they need maybe another 4 or 5 points to be absolutely certain, but I think that they'll get them easily before the end of the season. They've shown enough now for anyone, a betting man, to know that they're probably going to be okay. If not probably, almost certainly going to be okay. It would take something absolutely crazy for Newcastle to go down now. Whereas when they first appointed him a few months ago, I thought it would take something absolutely crazy for them to stay up. So you can only applaud them and say, well done, Eddie. You've gone in there. You've proved a lot of people wrong, including me. And I think it would be very, very harsh if Newcastle look to move him on in the summer or in the next year or so and get a bigger name manager, because that's the rumour.
Probably will, though.
They probably will. I think it'd be a mistake to do that, though. Yeah, that's what a lot of people think they're going to do. They're just going to let him see out the end of the season, maybe give him a couple of months next season just as a courtesy, but long term, he's not going to be part of the Newcastle project that those owners have got in mind. And
he's done a good job, though.
I think his stock, whether he's in the Newcastle job past this season or not, I think his stock has definitely gone up when it was, for me, pretty low when he left Bournemouth. So fair play to Eddie Howe, and it's just a shame that it looks like they're going to stay up at our expense.
Obviously, we mentioned formations and Frank Lampard, and he does seem to change them on the match day. Just your thoughts on his constant changing. I won't ask you to guess what he'll pick at the week on Thursday, because I think that's an impossible question to ask you. But give me your thoughts on his changing of formation. I'll start with you, Paul.
he's got here, and he obviously hasn't realised just how terrible the squad is and how limited his options are. And I know a few things have gone against him. They can't help. He got injuries, didn't he, to crucial players. But one thing, this five at the back that he's tried numerous times now, he's got to get rid of it. He's got to stop doing it. And it's not three at the back the way some people try and defend it. It's five at the back. We know it is. He's got two wing backs who are not. A right wing back in Seamus Coleman who can't get up and down the sides anymore. His legs have gone. He can't play at right back, never mind right wing back. And we've got at left back a defender in Michaelenko who I feel very sorry for, because people are getting on his back saying that he's not good enough when don't think he's played a single game yet in the position he was signed to play, which is just a traditional fullback. We've got a traditional fullback in Michaelenko who isn't a player who gets forward. That was meant to be one of the whole reasons that we brought him in, because that's what Rafa Benitez wanted in a left back, not what Lucas Dean was. Someone who would look to get the ball in the box. He wanted someone who wouldn't cross the halfway line. And we're asking Michaelenko to do a job that he doesn't do for any other club. He's never played wing back for Ukraine. He's never played wing back for Dynamo Kiev. Whenever those teams played a sort of free centre-back formation, he was always the left centre-back. He wasn't ever a player who's out on the wing. He's not a winger in any sense. And we're asking him to play out there. And because he's not getting into games and making a difference, people are just automatically assuming it's because he's crap. No, it's not fair on him. So why Frank keeps persevering with it? If he plays that formation again on Thursday, then I, honest to God, don't see how we get anything out of the game. I think we'll get beat handedly, just like we did against Wolves. He tried it against Boreham Wood, a non-league side, and we absolutely stunk the place out. A Premier League team played that formation against a non-league side and looked embarrassingly bad. So if it doesn't work against a non-league side, why are you trying it against the Premier League team, especially a team like Wolves, who are in good form, and Newcastle, who are even when we're going to play them, who are in even better form? So he's got to frig off five at the back. I get why he's changing it. He's trying to find a settled system that he thinks can get the best out of the most players. But five at the back is not that system, and he needs to accept that now and never play it again.
I don't know. I think it's not just the five at the back we've been terrible with, though. He's changed to 4-3-3. We've been rubbish. 4-4-2. I think he's tried every possible formation in the book, to be honest. And then what makes me laugh, we were absolutely dreadful with five at the back against Newcastle and against Boreham Wood. We changed to 4-3-3. That doesn't work, and then he goes back to five at the back. I'm sure it'll probably be 4-4-2 or something on Thursday night, because it's just like the circle formations we seem to be going through. I don't know. I think it looks slightly clueless, to be honest, the way it changes from week to week. We're just weak at the back no matter what formation we play. So I got why he tried to play three at the back, but then one of his centre backs was John Joe Kenny, who's a right back, and there's two full wing, good one, and there's two wing back with two traditional. Well, Coleman now is a traditional full back, and like I said, Michaelenko is. So we essentially just had five players who just couldn't move out their own half, and the rest of the team just, I don't know. When we gave the ball to the midfields, it just got, and we had two midfielders, and neither of them have got a defensive instinct about them. So we had a wide open midfield, five defenders, and an attack who we didn't get the ball to. It was just really weird. It was really poor, to be honest. And then we played against Spurs last week, and we started chasing them 1v1 all over the pitch and got battered in a 4-3-3. And then you could say, well, you go to 4-4-2. It worked against Leeds, but then he played there against Southampton and got annihilated. So I don't know what formation he goes with personally. I just think we've got to be more organised, because players just get pulled out of position no matter what formation we play. And whatever we pick, we need to settle on and get it to improve, because he's had the players long enough now to realise what they like and what the strengths are. And if we play out from the back and run all over the pitch and get pulled apart again, it'll just look ridiculous on Thursday night. And if that happens again, question marks are going to have to be levelled at him as well.
Well, my question now would be, what would be your starting 11 if you were him? I'll start with you again, Owen. What would your starting 11 be?
No, they're all terrible. So Pickford's out go in goal. I would go Nathan Patterson at right back. Ben Godfrey next to. To be honest with Chris Wood's height, would be Godfrey Keane, Michalenko. I'd go for three in midfield. So Alan, Decore, Van der Beek, and then it'd be Gordon, Gray, and Richarlison again up front.
Paul?
Pickford in goal. I agree. I want to see Nathan Patterson given a chance, because how can you keep persevering with Seamus Coleman and John Joe Kenny? Honestly, they've let us down so many times. In Coleman's case, it's because he's too old and he just hasn't got it in him anymore. In Kenny's case, it's just because he can't play anyway. He got a red card, didn't he? So he's suspended. But Kenny overall, I don't think, unless it's an absolute injury crisis emergency and he's the only fit right back, shouldn't be in the team. Again, now we should get moved on in the summer.
Played every game though. He's played literally every game under Lampard.
And he's garbage.
Well, we know that, but he has played every game.
We know he's not going to play in this one though, because he's suspended, isn't he? But yeah,
he'll probably be
Patterson
back in
Patterson at right back. I get what you mean. I think it is. There's a lot of logic in what you're saying, where with Chris Wood's height and the fact that they're going to be physical from set pieces, you'd want to see Keane in there. But when I saw Keane against Spurs, I just don't think Michael Keane's head's with it at all. I think we need to just keep him.
Terrible though.
I know he's terrible, but he's not going to have a nervous breakdown on the pitch. You don't think, like Michael Keane does?
Well, he's overconfident. He doesn't have a clue.
Says we're so limited, aren't we? We've got trash everywhere. But I'd have to go with Colgate and Godfrey, though I do get why you'd put Keane there. But my argument would be, I just think Michael Keane's head's completely gone. So he'd be a deer in the head. He'd just be an absolute deer in the headlights. The minute something went wrong, I think it would be Tottenham all over again for him. At left back, I'd have Michalenko and just let him focus on being a left back. Don't ask him to do something that he's never done before for any other team he's played for in his professional career. I'd go three in the middle. I'd go Decore, Van der Beek, and as much as I feel sick saying this, because this is another player I don't ever want to see again if we can help it, I'd put Andre Gomez, because apparently he's fit again now. I think we need three in the midfield, and who else could you put there?
Alan?
Davis is in. Oh, forgot about Alan. Is Alan fit?
Yeah.
Why didn't Alan play at the weekends? Was he injured?
Dropped. No, he was dropped. He was on the bench.
Was he on the bench? I know he didn't come on.
He was on the bench.
Alan, then forget Gomez. Yeah, any excuse to not put him. Alan, Decore, and Van der Beek as the three, and if he's fit again, I'd put Calvert-Lewin up front with Richarlison and Gray either side of him. If Calvert-Lewin's not going to be available, then I'd have Richarlison through the middle with Gray and I'm not sure, maybe Townsend, because I know Townsend's not top of anyone's popularity list either, but I think Townsend...
Gordon, would you not start Gordon?
No, this is going to be controversial. I just think Anthony is knackered. He looks absolutely spent against what I just think he needs to...
I'd drop him against Palace, to be honest. And I'd play him for this one. Yeah, I'd play him for this one and I wouldn't play him against Palace. I'd give Townsend a go against Palace and throw Gordon in.
And I think there's logic in that as well. But Townsend was so diabolical against Bournemouth that he couldn't have any arguments if he hardly got any minutes between now and the end of the season. But we know he's going to because of needs must. So I try Townsend, Damari Gray supporting Richarlison. That's only if Calvert-Lewin's not fit. If Calvert-Lewin is fit, then I'd go with Damari Gray and Richarlison. So I want to see us line up in a 4-3-3 because I think a 4-3-3 at home, it lets the fans know that we're not being negative, that the team is going to set up to try and win the game. And I think if we get a goal at first, then there'll be a lot less nerves. If we just play super negative, five at the back, or 4-4-2. If we go behind, I can see a lot of fans kind of looking at it like I did on Sunday and thinking, where's this goal going to come from? We're not creating anything. And if you don't believe your team's going to score, your team's simply not going to win, is it? So
No.
I want to see a 4-3-3. And if he changes formation later on in the game just to sort of protect the lead, then I could stomach that a lot better than if he would just start with a really negative formation. I want to see us take the initiative a little bit, or at least try to take the initiative. But as you said there, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he sets up like that and the players just completely fold in half and let him down again. Hopefully not, though.
I mean, yeah, I'd go 4-3-3 myself, but 3 at the back, 5 at the back's a no. 4-4-2, I wouldn't be that angry with, to be honest, because we our best results this season have been in a 4-4-2. So I would understand that. I wouldn't go for it because I want to see three players in the midfield to sort of.
We need 3 players in midfield every single time. It was the same against Boreham Wood, but against Wolves, every single time we got over the halfway line, we had nowhere to go because we had 2 central midfielders who were both being marked out the game and had no one to give it to because we had 2 wing backs in Coleman and Michaelenko who both don't know what they're doing out there, and they were barely crossing the halfway line. And even if they did get across the halfway line on the odd occasion, they wouldn't know what to do because they haven't got any instincts to go forward and look to lash balls in the box like a wing back's supposed to do. And it was the same against Boreham Wood. You can't have 2 centre midfielders in the Premier League unless at least one of your centre midfielders is absolutely world class, like a Kante level player. And we haven't got that.
What formation do you see him going for though? Because I couldn't honestly tell you because it's been different every game. So
it's, as you said, it's different every game. If I see the lineup come out an hour beforehand and it's 5 at the back again, then I'm really going to have to ask myself, do I even want to go to this? Because I can't stomach that formation again.
I know. It is what it is.
My final question for you both is, what's your score predictions? I'll start with you, Paul.
Maybe I'm being a fool. I'll go for 1-0 Everton. I can see a really, sort of under the Goodison lights, decibels being off the charts, the fans really getting behind it, it being extremely, extremely nervy. But I want to believe that Everton will show the character that they've not shown all season and just somehow find a way to get over the line with this one. I'll go for 1-0.
I'll go 2-0 Everton. I think we'll do it.
Nice and optimistic. That's what we like to see.
Well, I don't know, but you've got to be positive. You're going in with a negative outlook, then there's no point, is there?
No.
If the players and the players are reading everything we're saying this week, so we better be positive. They'll turn up.
I'm sure they'll be watching the Toffee Blues YouTube channel just to get them buzzed up for it.
Probably don't, because we're probably too mean on them and we put them under too much pressure. As you said, Everton players can't play the best because the fans are just too harsh.
I also hopefully I'm going to go with a win. I think I'm going to go with 1-0. Just goals at the minute don't seem to be coming by.
No.
But I'll stay up with the optimistic attitude of I think we can get a win under Goodison. That is all I've got time for today, though. Don't forget to like the video, guys. Comment down below your score predictions for the game and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Paul, Owen, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate. And as I said to anyone earlier on, I know things are absolutely terrible at the moment, but at the end of the day, it is only football, isn't it?
Exactly. I think that's worth noting with everything that's going on in the world.